Hi, my name is Jerry. I am a Reiki master, registered Kundalini yoga instructor, energy healing, and I also dabble in energy medicine. And also, I do witchcraft or witchcraft. And we're going to talk about some of the principles. It kind of like crosses all of those. That's what I love about energy work is you really do kind of dabble more into the spiritual side of things. It's not so much about the science of, what works for the masses. This is more of like esoteric, small things, really trusting your intuition and trusting other things, which is why I just love this way test. Okay. So I wanted to talk, actually, there's going to be a few ways I'm going to talk in this video, but it's about how to structure your diet. So right now, a lot of the food that we have at the grocery store is, as the FDA calls it, is generally considered safe. Okay, so that means that they're adding things into the food or they're altering the food. They consider it generally safe when eaten in a small quantity. However, everything in your world right now has some type of chemical. Okay, so it could be the stuff that we're wearing through our clothes. It could be the shampoos. So I actually had to switch from like my old favorite shampoo. It was very floral. It was very beautiful. Everybody loved the smell of it. But the chemicals they used to create that smell wasn't good for my body. So now I'm using natural type of things. But these are all ways that we actually, like right now I have in front of me a whiteboard, and this whiteboard has a whole bunch of these pens that come in it, and sometimes they get on my hands. You're getting chemicals into your skin no matter what we're doing, right? There's just so much stuff in here. So how do we take care of ourselves? Well, nutritionally, we should try to take care of ourselves, the whole body, right? Trying to be able to have more organic clothing, organic, bath products. A lot of things just that are more natural are better. However, I will tell you this sweater, I love this sweater. I've had this for a long time. I bought it at a thrift shop. So I didn't really technically buy it at a store, but I guarantee you it's probably made with dyes and everything else that's just not really good for us. It's beautiful, but it's not really good for us. So when we talk about the diet, they've altered a lot of things within the diet. But actually, let me take a step back. So in the US, we have always been told it's calories in, calories out. So you eat calories and then you burn them off with exercise, which is a great system. It's definitely a component of it. And then we're taught about the food pyramid and, putting a lot of grains, and it's called the standard American diet. Literally, the acronym is SAD. Don't follow it. I don't recommend it. I am not a nutritionist either. So take a nutritionist mindset on that. They're probably also not going to recommend the standard American diet, but I would don't take this as like, this is advice as this worked for me. I'm not going to just say it's going to work for everybody because we're all so vastly different, right? Trying to think of anything. Oh, and stick to fresh foods. Try to stick to fresh foods as much as possible because a lot of the stuff that's packaged is going to have artificial flavors. It's going to have pesticides. It's going to have carcinogens. Oh my gosh, I just found out about caramel color. I don't know if you guys know about this, but caramel color is a known carcinogen. I see it in everything. They even put it in chicken stock. Like they put it in everything. So just be very careful of what you're buying because even though these foods are marketed and advertised as healthy, guilt-free, all these things, turn the package over. Don't trust anything that's in the grocery store. Turn the package over. They're allowed to market these things as healthy. What is health to one person, right? There is no standard health to one person. My husband is completely built different than me. He can have a lot more junk food than I can. So whatever they're defining as health is not your health. So turn the package over. If it has chemicals in it, get rid of it. Or if it has chemicals in it, Google it. Google those chemicals. Sometimes I'll Google things and I'll be like, oh, okay. So I think it was like absorbic acid I'm thinking of right now, and it like helps us with vitamin C. But again, you don't want too much of it. You don't want it to be in every single thing that you eat. But on the occasion, if you do come in contact with it, it actually is not going to harm you. So test your food out, educate yourself. Pesticides to me have actually been one of the most eye-opening things that I have have encountered. Pesticides are put in fruits and vegetables, so these are things that are considered fresh. They are not packaged. However, pesticides are developed to kill the immune system of bugs and insects, and so that's essentially what it's doing to us. Is as we are eating these foods with the pesticides, it is affecting our brain. It is affecting our spinal cord. It's affecting a lot of us, and it can throw your hormones out of whack, which can make you have mood swings. It can make you very upset. It can just make you feel generally not that great. So your diet is very, very, very important, and there's a lot of things to look out for. But one of the ways that you can do this is to sway test. I love the sway test. It's using your own intuition. It's using your subconscious brain. We are intelligent beings. We can find out what is good for our own body and what is not good for our own body, what's balanced and non-balanced, right? So I'm just going to take this for an example. This is an organic grapefruit, and I'm going to stand with my feet hip width apart, okay? So you're really feeling like you got this good structure. And then imagine tucking in your belly button by pulling your pelvis up. This is called a lock in yoga. And then think of just pulling those shoulders back and a marionette string just pulling you up. What you want to do is get elongated as much as possible. Open up your energy centers. We're working with the nervous system. The nervous system is your brain and your spinal cord. We're tapping into the subconscious brain here, so we are tapping into the nervous system. So I'm going to take this food and I'm going to put it, this is right below my breast line, okay? So off to the side, right below my breast line is located a solar plexus chakra. So this is your personal power, willpower, and its color is yellow. I love this one. But it's going to also give us a very good information on whether our food is energetically balanced to us or not. So standing with your feet hip width apart, you're going to take a deep inhale through your nose, and we're going to exhale through our mouth. So it'll look just like this. And normally when you breathe out, so right now I've done this so much that I'm already swaying forward. When you first start doing this, it may be easier to start with a question. So I always instruct people to just hold this and say, is this food energetically balanced for my body? And when you do, you'll get a response. So for me, I am swaying forward. I can literally feel my body swaying forward. That means it's energetically balanced to this food. It's actually going to it, right? It wants it. It's going forward to it. If I would have stood right here, this would have been considered a neutral. So neutral, you can make about 20% of your diet. These are things that your body doesn't really like, it doesn't really dislike. It can kind of go either way. What you want to avoid is anything, and actually I have a product that will do it for me. So I used to eat a lot of cheese balls when I was a kid. Oh my gosh. Like I just remember so many people saying to me so many cheese balls, and I thought they were so like good and yummy, and yeah, anyways, this nostalgia of things that now create hecticness in your life because the food wasn't really that great, and it was causing a great deal. I had a great deal of suffering in my childhood because I had a lot of stomach troubles, a lot of, intestinal issues, gastrointestinal issues, and I didn't know it was just from the food. But this one's one nostalgia. So I don't eat these. My husband really likes cheese balls, and this is considered, I'm going to say, quote unquote, the healthier version versus like the big, you know what I'm talking about, the big guy you can buy at the grocery store. That's his favorite. He says that one's really full of flavor, and it is chemical flavor, full of it, chemical flavor. So it's quite delicious for sure. It's getting that dopamine going off, but it's basically a process of getting you addicted to food. So this one, this one at the grocery store, if you do see it, it's all taste, no guilt. It's even called something good. I'm not going to call out the particular company because I just don't want to do that because they are trying pretty hard on this one, to be quite honest. But Actually, this one's pretty good. It's just got nope, there it is, natural flavors. I was gonna say I know something's wrong, but I saw this before. So it's got natural flavors, and natural flavors, guys, they can create natural flavors. They're actually created in the lab. All of these things are created in the lab. They just have to have one ingredient that starts from nature, and they can add it to like 100 different ingredients. So when you see the word natural flavors, don't think that it's actually natural flavor. That is their good, tricky way that the FDA has approved for them to put it on the labels. But that could mean up to 100 different chemicals just in your food alone. So for an example, I do have to call this one out because even though they are saying that they're guilt-free and they're this, that's not necessarily true. I also think that it's wrong for companies to speak on what is healthy for the general population, considering that each individual is each individual. But see, that's not really great for marketing. So, and I will call out too, you'll notice with a lot of the foods, see how this one has a red color on the outside? That's for the root chakra. That's trust, safety, security. And then they have yellow on the top. That's personal power, willpower. So they have a great deal of information of how the body actually visually sees color and how it's associating with it, their brand. They also use songs and other things, other frequency type stuff to get you to buy their products. But just because they're selling your product really hard doesn't mean the product's actually healthy for you. So you do need to turn it over. If it does have chemicals in it, I'm going to tell you to try to leave it. But I'm going to leave it up to you to make your own intuitive decisions based on whether you should eat the food. And sometimes you're actually going to get a yes. So let's try this one. I know this one normally for me is going to give you a no. So let's just breathe in and breathe out. Let me just get my feet were right next to each other. So let me get the stability back in here. Pull up that spine. Okay, so I normally actually get a behind on this one, but today I'm getting a neutral, which means my body is pretty well balanced. So if, for example, I did want to snack on something that's not really all that healthy for me, it appears that today would possibly be that day. But I'm not going to because I don't want to waste all the amazingness that I've done for my body. And I know that as soon as I eat this, it's going to make me feel really crappy. So I'm not going to eat it. But another trick you can do too is think about the quantity. Right now I'm holding this thing and it's pretty full, right? So you want to think about the quantity. It's all about intention. So if you're holding on to this and you're just like, okay, well, I'm getting a no, but there's a whole can here. What if I think about just having a handful of these? And you can pull them out. Pull out a handful if you want, but if you don't want to get your hands all yucky and you just want to hold it, you can just envision yourself in a handful. Oh, yeah, ready for this. Okay, so I'm envisioning a handful and I'm getting a yes now. So beforehand, when I was envisioning this whole thing, I was getting a neutral. Now I'm envisioning that I'm only going to get just a handful that I can fit in my hand and I'm getting a yes. So that means that my body is energetically prepared to take this food. So again, some things that are not generally seen as maybe like healthy in general actually might be okay and energetically balanced for your body. Your body is going to change every day depending on astrological, hormonal changes, chemical processes. Again, eating food is a chemical process. Taking in the sun and turning it into vitamin D. All of these are chemical processes. So every day your body can change. So test everything every day. Just because I can have this today doesn't mean it's going to come up tomorrow. But I wanted to bring also things like this. So you can do this with something that is in a container. So this is honey. I tend to always test my honey. I know there's a lot of unfortunate practices out there that are done with the bees. And it's essentially what the statistics are saying is there's actually not enough organic honey to be the organic honey we see on the shelves, right? The amount of people who are actually like truly doing organic honey don't match the amount that they're selling on the shelves, which means that there are possible people out there or companies that are saying that they're healthy and they are kind of working around that scale somehow. So test it, right? Just test it. For me, honey always tends to go forward. I have a lot of inflammation from my, just my past health, something that I'm actually getting a lot better with. So honey is really good because honey is great for inflammation. And then you can also do this with, I wanted to just bring out a pill bottle. This is the vitamins I take. This is for my Super B complex. I take one. I don't know if I can show companies' names. I'm new to YouTube. But this one is Pure Synergy, but I get it because it's actually organic. It's non-GMO. And this particular one is actually made with organic fruits and veggies. So that's what I really like about it. For an example, if you look on the back, it's going to contain organic soy, organic fiber, organic, I can't say that word. I know that I just said if you can't say that word, don't eat it. But this is all been tested. And then orange peel extract. So this one I sway test. I actually, just FYI, I do sway test my vitamins every day. I have one that is, a blue-green algae. Sometimes if I put 3, which is the recommended amount, it will give me a no. And if I remove 1 and I only have 2, it will give me a yes. So I put all my vitamins in a dish and I actually hold them to my body and I see if I'm energetically balanced. And if I get a no, I played around with it enough that I know the major components, like it's my what's that word? Collagen. Thank you. Collagen. And it's also the blue-green algae that I get that sometimes it'll be recommended to have this much, but for my body, it's too much. So I actually downgrade my vitamins depending on what comes up. Okay, so other things that you can do. So there are some people who say, okay, I don't have access to organic food. I cannot afford organic food. I am not making the switch. What do I do? Okay, so the easiest thing that you can do is pray. I know that sounds kind of interesting. Pray on your food. So there was a doctor in Japan that actually proved something called water consciousness, okay? So he took water and he said really nice things to the water, like, thank you, I love you, and grateful. And then he took this other water and he said really mean things to it, like, I hate you, you're ugly, just awful things that we wouldn't want to hear in our body. And he flash froze them. And the difference between the things that actually came out of all the loving words that he said, they were these beautiful crystals and they just had these great formations in them. And then the other ones just kind of looked kind of like blah, right? They just weren't as beautiful. And it's not like that energy shouldn't exist, because that energy does exist. It's how we transmute it. So I felt like this was a very beautiful way for you to actually see and look up water consciousness. It will really change your mind. So pray on your food, because 80% of your body is water, right? I think they say like it's all kind of depends, like the blood that's flowing through you is a great deal of water. Our saliva is the water. Just so many things. What else? Sorry, I'm going to lose my point. If you cannot, so definitely pray on your food. That will help. Again, the water content is just going to help raise the vibrations of the food that you're eating through prayer. So do that. I don't have personal experience with this. I'm going to be honest. I do this all the time, but I don't have personal experience that could tell you, like, I started doing this and it just changed my world. However, I have heard people who literally say all they do is that they pray over their food. A lot of people like to do a clockwise 3 circles over top of it. This is also using the electromagnetic field of your own to start sensing the food beforehand. A fun little fact, if you guys can actually smell food, your digestive tract already starts like kicking on. It's like just the smell of food makes you salivate, right? So you actually start the components of your digestive system with a lot of those things, which isn't that just fun and witchy, right? You know, the smell of something baking in the air, you can already feel it. You're so ready to go. Remove sugar foods and sugar beverages. Okay, so sugar has been linked to a high, to depression actually. A lot of people who eat sugar can get very addicted to it. To be quite honest, now that I know a lot more about sugar, it seems a lot more harmful to our system than what we're being told. Again, we have a lot of things with kids. We give them a lot of sugar. If you look at the packaging, a lot of the stuff, they just load it full of sugar. And the average woman, me, I'm only supposed to have 40 grams of sugar, and a lot that's on those shelves have at least 1 gram of sugar, and a lot of them I've seen have almost a half of your daily amount in one serving. If you eat 2 servings, it's almost your entire thing. I had a juice the other day. I buy the big juices, and when I was younger I used to just have that for a whole meal, but now I've started to actually like just pour out a little glass of it. And I was looking at it the other day, and when I poured it out, I was only 13 grams of sugar, and of course it's not added sugar, it's just natural sugar, but I still track it. And it's just interesting because a lot of these packaged foods, one candy bar, well, there you go, all your sugar's done. You can't have fruit. You can even have carrots for the rest of the day, right? Because it's all they're just going to be going to sugar. So you really want to be particular to how much of the sugary beverages and things like that you're consuming. Because it's just really not that great for your body. And also, those of you who are switching from regular pop to just pop alternative is just, we made a chemical that tastes like sugar, makes your brain think it's sugar, but it's not sugar. Sway test your food if you can. Okay, buy local. Try buy local. There are some more organic style herbicides. So sometimes the farmers won't actually call their food organic, but they'll let you know that like these are the ingredients that we do actually use. That's why we can't call them organic. So a lot of times being able to talk to your local farmer about their produce really helps, because again, we're talking water consciousness. If somebody is over on their food really like hoping that it grows and praying on it and doing all these amazing things, it's energetically already going to be a lot more balanced for your body. When we look at how food is processed today, you just get all this food that's just taken from Mother Nature, it's shoved into a big grinder, they grind it all around, they dry it, they do all this stuff to it, they add a whole bunch of chemicals, they package it. There's just a lot that goes on with those foods. And again, a lot of that stuff you're going to have to process. So meat. Okay, so meat is an interesting one. So I do eat meat. I try to go vegetarian several times, and it doesn't really work for my body. So now I do lean meats on the occasion, and I do fish. The one thing I will say is that when you're buying your meats, try to buy them antibiotic-free, hormone-free. They will disrupt the endocrine system. Naturally, meat is going to disrupt your endocrine system. Again, I don't know what medical science says about this, so if this doesn't go on what they say, I'm going off common sense here. So, okay. So anything that you eat is going to affect your endocrine system. It's your hormones. As you effectively eat any chemical, even natural chemicals, because nature has chemicals too. So for an example, this onion is organic, so it doesn't have all the chemicals, man-made chemicals, but it naturally is its own chemicals. So by me eating it, it is going to change a little bit of my chemical process. And I hope that I finished my thought on that one. No, the meat. The meat. So when you're eating meat, they already have hormones as a part of their natural everyday life. So when you eat even organic meat, it is going to affect your hormones just slightly. It's not like I have any medical thing that can come out and show you how it's going to affect your hormones. And also, again, your hormones are very specific to you. So some people might be able to eat much more meat than others, and some people can eat certain types of meat and some can't. So sway test your meat. I do recommend that when you're eating meat that you do a prayer on top of it, because it's got a huge water element to it. And again, that water element is what's going to come into you. So pray for it. And let's be honest, that animal lost its life. Even if it's a chicken nugget, that chicken lost its life to sustain you. So we need to honor that animal. We need to honor and actually give it its due rights for giving us that energy and that fuel. Meditation. Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is so crazy. So I paid so much money to a top hospital here in the Chicago area because I was having a lot of digestive issues, and they were like, let's food test her, right? By the way, doctors actually get 0 to 11 hours of education on nutrition. So that's why a lot of the doctors are not understanding that a lot of the physical problems that we have are actually resulting from the foods. And also it's a really complicated system, right? If you look at what the FDA allows into our foods, there's just so much vast. I mean, I think I read that there's 85,000 man-made chemicals today, 84 of those, by the way, can be added to alcohol. So just FYI, alcohol isn't even safe. They add chemicals to that too. So I buy foreign if you are going to be, so maybe get a French wine instead of something that's going to be processed here, because if it's processed here, there's a good chance that they might add something to it, or research the companies, find the ones that are doing the good stuff, because there's a ton of good companies out there, so many that are trying to help the world right now. So look at that. But okay, let's go back to meditation. So for the meditation, what you want to do is you want to clear your mind beforehand. So start a little meditation before you eat. It could be 3 to 5 minutes. What you're just basically doing is you want to slow the nervous system down with your breath. And this is what happens when we start to take control of the respiratory system through breath work. So when we're breathing in long inhalations and long exhalations, we are essentially slowing our nervous system down. And so we want to get into a point that we feel very balanced. Then we eat, right? Then we eat. So eat your food, and then I want you to wait. So if you're testing something, there's several ways you can do this. You could do this with a small test. So maybe it's like a couple of grapes. You're just testing to see if these grapes are going to be fine for you. So you can meditate, you can eat a couple of these grapes. And what you're going to do is you're just trying not to focus on anything for the next 30 minutes, but tuning into your body. So sit back down, lay back down. I mean, just do anything where you're really not trying to like physically just like go, go, go. We want to tune into the body. Okay. So when you tune into the body, you're going to start hearing all the sounds, right? You'll start to hear your stomach gurgle. You'll start to see if you have bloating, if you have gas, if you have cramps, if it makes you feel nauseous, if it gives you a headache, maybe it just doesn't make you feel good. Sometimes I actually will eat food and I'll feel like a little tickle back here in the back of the throat. I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like that's possibly just like a little allergy. So I like to listen to that. Again, when you do these food allergy tests, you have to get like, I think you have to score a really high score. Like you have to be like 60% intolerant or something like that. Don't quote me for it, but you have to have a really, really big intolerance to show up on those tests. So if you're just eating something and you're getting gassy and then you're like, well, what are you talking about? Like I did my food tolerance test and it says I am not, intolerant to this, or I'm not. They're not necessarily 100% accurate, right? This is what we're talking about, is a lot that's out there is not as accurate as it needs to be. So meditation is another great way for you to just listen and tune into your own body and figure out what foods are working well for you. And when in doubt, again, always sway test. I love the sway test. And, do the sway test at the grocery store. People always look at you like, what is that weirdo doing? But it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, I'm going to go home and I'm going to know the foods that I'm eating are energetically balanced for me. I'm going to know that I'm going to be feeling better. I'm going to know my nervous system, so my brain, my spinal cord are all intact. They're all being able to give the vital energy that all of my organs need, because that's what the nervous system does. It provides us the energy and vitality that we need. So don't damage it with the foods that you're eating, because it's very easily damaged that way. Okay. I think that was it for this video. I really do hope this helps. Again, you don't have to naturally do an organic diet. That's what I'm going to recommend. Mother Nature is best. But I do understand that we live in this day and age, and sometimes we want to indulge in the things that have been made by man. And if that is the case, definitely do. Or make your food at home. You can find fabulous alternatives, and I'm telling you, you'll save a lot of money, because these companies, they'll charge you a lot for the box that you're getting, because it's expensive to make for them, because they have to actually get these huge industrial style things. They have to work with farmers. It's a lot of vendor management. Making a company that makes food is very, very, very hard. So I don't want to diss on that. It's a very hard thing to do, and there's a lot of moving components. So do try to just look at who's making your food. Do try to see what kind of energy and love they put into their food, because the one thing I actually didn't cover, and again, This video is going to turn out to be another 30 minutes. Another thing I didn't cover with the meat is the average human can actually sweat 2 inches of cortisol outside of their skin. That's how we actually get it out. We sweat our cortisol. So you can also get this from meat, right? So looking at how that animal may have lost its life, looking at how that animal spent its life, if it spent its life in fear, then you're going to be eating a lot of the stress that your animal had to go through. So very careful on meat, guys. If you're eating meat, try to get ones where they're farm raised, they had happy lives, they're great. Because there's a lot of science that will back a lot of this stuff too. Maybe it's not been completely like connected yet, but let's be honest, we know that we're gonna sweat out cortisol. We know the hormones are gonna be all getting that sweat. Yeah, that's what we do, right? We just sweat it out. So you can imagine that that's process is also going on with your meat. So I hope this video was helpful. I appreciate you tuning in for so long and love you guys.